34 minutos, ¿eh? Uf, larguito el vídeo. Venga. A ver qué nos enseñan. Me paso de volumen. Vale. Qué guapa la maqueta, ¿no?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Hogwarts Legacy Gameplay Showcase. I'm Chandler Wood, Community Manager here at Avalanche Software, and I'm honored to introduce you to our panel today. First up, we have community guest host, Ben Snow.
Oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. Thank you so much for having me.
And from the Avalanche team, we have Game Director Alan Tu.
Hello everybody.
And Systems Designer Mackenzie Toner.
Hi.
And finally, just off-screen capturing gameplay for us, Andrew Coram.
La edición coleccionista me parece una basura. O sea, en cuanto a precio para lo poco que es. Un librito con una varita que vuela, ya está.
And we're starting right where we left off in our last gameplay showcase, just outside Hogwarts, which
Después,
I love that we
ves otros juegos que tienen edición coleccionista también. Y tienen que si mapa, que si pin, que si póster, bolígrafo. Después, la cosa, lo principal de la colección, que puede ser un martillo, por ejemplo, el de God of War, el libro con la varita de este, pero que sea solo eso y ya está. No sé. Añádele un mapa del merodeador, algún detallito, algunos pins, un giratiempo, cualquier cosa, pero es que hay muchas cosas. Y nada, solo el libro.
I actually kind of like some of the mechanics in it. So you see in the lower right, there's a meter there, and
hey, un momento. Un momento que creo que no he cambiado esto. Sí, no lo he cambiado. A ver. No. Ahí estamos. Ahora sí.
Occasionally, as Andrew's kind of flying up or flying down, you might notice it draining or not. And
en 2K.
En
4K.
And this isn't the present day where all the broom technology is well known and advanced and everything that we know and love. This is an earlier time where they're still trying to figure out, you know, we're not at the 3000 yet, we're at the 11. So.
O sea, que puedes volar tranquilamente por donde sea, por el bosque. Qué locura, tío. ¿Y cómo aterriza? ¿Aterriza realista? Quiero ver un aterrizaje.
Shop in Hogsmeade, actually a broom shop, and so that sells a variety of different brooms, and it was important to us that the player could customize themselves based on their own aesthetic.
Las animaciones de cuando gira.
But if you talk to the shopkeep and help him out, he'll actually sell upgrades.
Yeah, and those upgrades will make
Qué
it so
puta
that
locura, tío, cómo se ve.
You can only go at max speed. It's kind of like a turbo meter down there. You can only go at max speed without the meter going down, kind of closer to the ground. And as you raise into the air, you'll notice the meter drop. And so those upgrades will allow you to.
¿Y cuánta altura puede llegar a pillar también?
And the broom owner at the sporting goods store in Hogsmeade.
Ah, hay una barrita. Me acabo de fijar que hay una barrita amarilla abajo. Mira. ¿Se te fija? Tiene la barrita llena. La amarilla esta que está encima de la verde de abajo. Y cuando sube altura, baja la barrita. Y entonces cuando baja, es como un cooldown que tienes para poder estar alto. Vale.
and know it better, and you can participate that and get better and better.
O eso es lo que pienso yo, lo que más parece.
I love that mechanic encourages you to actually explore the world and kind of stay close to the ground. It's not just a travel mechanic, point A to point B. You're not just flying high over everything, although it is beautiful, something I really love doing, but as well, there's lots to explore on the ground, and so kind of keeping you down at the ground level.
And to me, it feels like it's got this kind of surfing vibe over the.
Oh my God! Like I'm just like I want to snatch the controller from Andrew right now because I want to go to the mountaintop and go into that forest.
Este juego va a ser una puta locura, tío.
That's how it's called. I think that's what it is.
No, it's awesome. We're actually gonna land here, and I feel like that you.
¿Y el agua se puede nadar?
Is just perfect. Just
Muchas preguntas tengo.
And so.
Pero es que mira cómo se para. Pero ¿a dónde se va la escoba? Eso es lo que no me cuadra. Yo pensaba que, sobre todo, en el tráiler anterior, en el gameplay anterior, se veía como saltaba y en el aire le traía la escoba. Yo pensaba que era con un axio escoba o algo, ¿sabes? Pero no. Es como que aparece y desaparece sin más. Bueno. Es el mundo mágico. Todo es posible.
Get to know more of the area, even beyond Hogwarts and Hogsmeade that we've already experienced. And you'll also notice on the minimap, like lots of little icons, and each one of those represent gameplay in the hamlets that you can participate in. You know, whether it's a vendor or different puzzles and challenges or different secrets that exist. Each one of those icons are different opportunities for gameplay. And you'll notice that same thing as we venture out into the open world as well. So when you go out into the open world and you see those icons, whether they're on the minimap or on your map or off in the distance, those things are opportunities to say, like, I want to increase my inventory capacity. They're puzzles left behind by old wizards, you know, that you can solve that actually grant you those. If you see ruins off in the distance and you visit them, you might find opportunities to actually expand and learn about your ancient magic. And as you kind of encounter different enemies dotted on the landscape, sometimes those characters, poachers or dark wizards, might be hoarding different magical resources that are valuable.
Tío, algo de online, algo de multijugador tienen que poner, tío. Algo, lo que sea, aunque sea un cooperativo mínimo en algo, tío.
I mean, I ran away.
Es que es necesario.
All those points on the map just by going over there.
Well, we've flown on a broom already, but there is something that we haven't done so far, and that is getting on our flying mount. We're going to hop on our Onyx Hippogriff here. The Onyx Hippogriff is our...
Quiero ver cómo vuela con...
Oh my God, just...
¡Lo saca de la mochila!
The bag. Oh wait, you can...
¡Lo saca de la puta mochila! Como New Scamander.
As a hippogriff, you can totally ride it like a ground mount, and you can lift off into the air. And we tried to make sure that each of those interactions
¡Qué locura!
good at reaching that top speed, at kind of traveling the world as quickly as possible. But sometimes it's really nice to get on the hippogriff because of that ground speed or those transitions. And sometimes it just feels amazing just to...
Es increíble, tío, es increíble.
Yeah, it really is kind of like... I don't know, it's a great feeling being on it, and it's a great feeling managing those transitions, kind of going from run to fly and just being able to go wherever you want. And we tried to make sure that each one of these things that you can interact.
Le falta un poco la esencia de... A lo mejor lo ponen la primera vez que te dan un hipogrifo, que tienes que hacer la reverencia, que son unos animales muy orgullosos y todo eso. Pero claro, me gustaba más en el Prisionero de Azkaban de la Play 2, creo que era, que cada vez que te montabas en Buckbeak tenías que hacerle la reverencia. Aquí no, aquí lo saca la mochila y ya está volando, ¿sabes?
And you'll see different spots as Andrew's moving around, like you mentioned, the swamp. But there, we have got like a coast, and we've got different types of environments out in the world just to kind of pepper your experience, reward you for exploring, keep things fresh. All those things exist as we're moving around.
So cool. I love that windmill. It's like so rustic. Like I keep forgetting that this is like 1800s. The Wizarding World we've never really seen before. Like it feels so authentic. Like it just, it's part of it.
Yeah, I love this vista too, and I'm gonna have Andrew stop here. We're gonna use a bit of dev magic to change.
Se ve precioso, tío.
I want you to see this world.
Qué ganas de que sea 7 de febrero ya, te lo juro. Qué ganas, qué ganas. Y verlo todo nevado.
This is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. This is so pretty. Okay, it looks so realistic. Oh my god, it changes the landscape like completely. Oh my god. Does it have like actual like gameplay impact? Like impact on the gameplay? Or does it like it's just the weather of Scotland?
Yeah, we really use it as a narrative marker through the game. So as you're progressing through your main storyline, it was important for us to kind of like have those moments that kind of felt like when you're reading the books or watching the movies where, you know, you'll see kind of like the title card winter and now the landscape has changed and you're really feeling that passage of time while you're a student, you know, going through your year at Hogwarts. And I think we wanted to duplicate that, and for me it's really fun that it's not just on the outside, which
Me están entrando ganas de llorar fuera coña.
really beautiful, but within the school as well. So there are moments like when it reaches certain holidays or things like that, where Hogsmeade reacts to holidays and the school reacts to holidays. And
Se le quedan los copitos de nieve en
that really helps
en las alas y en la grupa.
It's not just, you know, for the seasons, those kind of vibe things. Like we have a day-night cycle, and that day-night cycle, even though similarly, like it's largely about vibe, when you go into Hogsmeade in the evening.
¿Te podrás chocar?
There, around the school, you'll notice it kind of dies down and quiets down. Just when
No
there's
creo,
just
¿no?
candlelight and students kind of like as you're walking through the halls. But in that day-night cycle is where we've kind of placed a few items where, you know, whether or not you can collect them or whether or not you can interact with them that are a little bit restricted by the day-night cycle.
And I love Andrew's flying up here, really high up on the hippogriff, and we're just looking at this view of Hogwarts.
Es verdad, mira Hogwarts de fondo.
It's absolutely beautiful. It's part of what I love most about flying around in this game, whether it's on a hippogriff or
Es gigante
No,
el
I mean,
mundo.
you talk about going anywhere and things that you can see in the
¡Qué
distance.
puta
and that's
locura!
why I still can't get over, like, no matter.
Y van pasando cosas, tú pasas por sitios y hay misiones secundarias, eventos, cosas que van pasando y tú puedes ir o no. Es que esto es un The Witcher de Harry Potter, tío. O sea, es lo que llevamos esperando los fans de Harry Potter toda la vida.
And just walk, you know, to the library, to class, or to greenhouse, or to my common room. That it's all contiguous and just kind of like one space.
Y los animales fantásticos que hay por todas las partes. Los lobos.
Speechless right now. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's just, oh my god.
As much as we want to
Se podrá ser animago, en plan, tú vas a aprender sobre muchos tipos de magia, las clases como han hecho todos los alumnos, tal. Habrá animagos, en plan, puedes ser tú un animago y convertirte en animales, sería la hostia.
Deep dive on using the Dark Arts Battle Arena, which is part of our deluxe edition. All right, Andrew's got us in the Forbidden Forest, which is where the Dark Arts Battle Arena
En mi opinión, los trajes de estos de la Deluxe Edition, de la Collection Edition y no sé qué, yo no me los voy a poner. No, prefiero tener la túnica original de toda la vida, tío. No sé. A lo mejor en un futuro, cuando ya acabe, me canse de la normal, vale. Pero el simple, un cestral.
Part of that Dark Arts pack from the Deluxe and Digital Deluxe Edition. So we're going full Dark Arts here.
That's good. That's what I like.
Es puto precioso,
like
tío.
This battle arena, it is a great place to show off really combat in a big way because it unlocks some interesting abilities for you and allows
en las películas de Harry Potter creo que fue en la del Prince.
And is this like the only
¿Fue la del príncipe o la del prisionero o la de la Orden del Fénix? Fue la de la Orden del Fénix, creo que todo el mundo fue con el cestral a salvar a Sirius. No, eso no fue la del príncipe, fue la del príncipe. 100%.
A different cosmetic for your character and add that to your collection. In the case of that's no different than the Dark Arts Battle Arena. That's also true, the combat arena. But one of the things that we're excited about in the Dark Arts Battle Arena that people can do is you come in preloaded with different abilities. So the unforgivable curses are something that everyone's going to have access to through the base game and going to be able to earn, and they can make choices in order to kind of like add that to their repertoire, and they can also commit to that down with certain talents and things like that. When you play the Dark Arts Combat Arena, you actually have access to all those things as kind of like a
Esto lo tapan para no ser spoiler.
And so it's a chance to kind of like tour and play with the Dark Arts.
O porque no está acabado del todo, le falta algún detalle por pulir o algo.
But yeah, everyone has the same ability to explore the dark arts. This is just kind of like a way of preview.
And again, a great place for us to show off combat in general. So I think we're gonna jump in here. Andrew's gonna start battling, and we can start talking.
Vale, pensaba que era multijugador y ya iba a llorar, pero no.
Oh, they just some of the cadavers right away. Oh my god.
We're starting off strong.
Oh my god. Was that Sergio? Oh my god. That's so cool.
Yeah, so that you'll notice right away, like,
O sea, puedes ser un puto psicópata, asesino, torturador de gente con tus hechizos con las maldiciones imperdonables. Puedes ser malvado, de verdad.
The meter takes up a lot longer to kind of build up as a way to kind of deal with its extreme power, just so that it's still fun to use. And then there's some ways that we'll probably talk about to adjust that. But I don't know. I don't know if there are things on the screen that you just have questions about.
Well, I see like little blue things popping from the enemies. Also, like that sign. Well, it's like, so in the community we call it the ancient magic sign. I don't know if that's how it's called.
Yeah,
in the game.
So the community is astute.
Me flipan las animaciones. Hubo un movimiento de varita que se quedó así, muy épico.
So it is ancient magic.
That is, yeah. So as your abilities in the game keep growing and you become exposed to some of the secrets about your own kind of mystery and your own abilities, you start unlocking new powers. So one of those powers, you'll see the R1 button appearing throughout the game. That's an ancient magic throw, we call it, that allows you to kind of like draw an object to you and fling it at an enemy.
Okay.
But whenever you see the R1 or the L1 plus R1 appear over somebody's head, that's an ability to cast a very devastating and powerful ancient magic spell to do a ton of damage against the character.
I see.
And the way that manifests itself depends on the type of enemy that you're fighting. And you'll see a wide variety of enemies in here that are pressuring the player in different ways. You'll notice there's abilities that kind of bubble up under the player as he's fighting that force him to move. And there's different ways that we want the player to kind of move around on the battlefield. And that's actually a good link to the ancient magic meter in general. And the reason why I say that is because as you're doing different things in combat, you're protegoing and you're...
Con el R2 cambia. Es como que tienes 4 habilidades, le das al R2 y tienes otras 4, ¿no? Eso creo.
Effective base ways to build up that meter fast. That way you can launch these devastating attacks whenever you want to. Is to actually perform combos. So you see that combo appearing, and it's almost like your emotions are building up, and then basically that builds up enough that you can attack someone. But as the combo meter builds up,
Protego. El combate es una pasada,
and a piece of their magic.
Y me imagino que todo lo que han enseñado, tanto tráiler como los gameplay y esto, para que sea más enseñable y disfrutable visualmente, lo pondrán en dificultad normal, fácil. Esto en dificultad difícil, yo creo que aumenta la velocidad con la que cada enemigo te ataca, te van atacando todos muy a la vez, tienes que tener muchos reflejos. Yo creo que la dificultad influye mucho, en los enemigos. Lo convertido en gallina.
And so the tools are really interesting because they're basically like a prior investment. So you can bring the potions and the plants that you grow in the Room of Requirement to combat to essentially kind of help you defeat enemies a lot quicker and more efficiently. So some of the tools that you'll see here are like the rock skin potion. So that is something that basically covers your skin in this like rocky material that reduces the incoming damage that you're receiving. So against big enemies, hard-hitting enemies like trolls, that's super helpful.
No, dos.
Oh my god, he's just destroying.
Pero bueno, Abadacadabra y al suelo.
Obviously, we have the Wiggenweld potion as well, which increases your health. And then we have the focus potion. So when Alan talks about having to balance...
Es que la verdad que ahora está rotísimo, lo one-shotea. Fijaos que le ha tirado una piedra y una roca, o sea, un barril explosivo y una roca, y aún no le ha quitado nada. Plan, menos de un cuarto. Y con el Avada Kedavra al otro se lo ha one-shoteado. Ahora, mira, ya está, muerto.
And the troll makes him move around too.
Está roto, está roto.
I love that our plants are violent.
Yes, and so that's like when we were talking about the setup of the arena. You also have plants that you can fight with, and so we have things like the venomous tentacula that you can put down.
Pues el troll encima tiene armadura.
Just kind of shoots enemies around the battlefield.
That is so cool. This is like a truly like Hufflepuffian way to approach the battle. Yes.
No, that was super important to us, that there were these like multiple ways. And so you can see there's a ton of different things that you can use. The mandrake is one, so you can pull it out and it stuns with its like piercing cry these enemies in a radius.
And another thing I want to call out that we're seeing on the side of the screen here is these dueling feats, which I love because I love anything that prompts me to play a game in a different way, a unique way. I don't want to get stuck in my style, you know? And so this is a way to, if you want to get stuck in your style, go for it. If you just want to blast people with spells, go for it. But we also want
Creo que la voltereta es un parry. O sea, literalmente, aunque la habilidad visualmente te esté dando, si estás haciendo la voltereta, te traspasa. No te afecta, eres invulnerable. Es una mecánica que se usa en muchos juegos.
And exactly to your point, we just wanted a way to encourage players to explore the different systems, to help them decide, to just kind of practice with them and explore what they want to do.
Qué ganas de ir haciendo magia con la túnica por Hogwarts, tío.
When you see the green
con la túnica de Hogwarts, de Gryffindor.
Through your talents, you can unlock this kind of
Gryffindor forever.
Sort of like links the fates of these different characters on the battlefield. That way, as you're cursing different characters, they all begin sharing damage. And so we have things like Avada Kedavra, which is the insta-kill, but if you curse everyone before you insta-kill this one guy, they can all drop dead for that kind of ultimate Voldemort.
¿Cómo?
This one guy, they...
¿Qué hice? A la M. Pero si tú maldices a alguien antes de instamatarlo.
But if you curse everyone before you insta-kill this one guy, they can...
A lo que se refiere es que si le tiras una maldición que no sea Avada Kedavra a varios enemigos, el que queda sin maldecir le tiras una Avada Kedavra y todos los demás mueren. O sea, es como si fuera un efecto dominó. Así es como lo he entendido yo.
And so, oh my God, there are dark arts fantasies. There's fantasies about being more of a defense against the dark arts character, things like that misty step that you see occasionally being used on the battlefield. And we can also spec into our potions and plants to make them more powerful and more efficacious. So it's all about which type of player you feel like you are and whether or not you want to play with prep, on the fly, or with deliberation.
Imperio le estaba haciendo.
Those are all different options.
That is so cool because it's like I see so much like going on the stream, just so much complexity, and I want to just try it myself, like which style works best. I mean, I feel like it's the dark arts is going to be the easiest route, but that ancient magic, to be honest, feels like much more powerful than just the dark arts.
Yeah.
To be fair.
And speaking of plants and potions, we are going to be putting the dark arts away, put those unforgivable curses away. And heading to the Room of Requirement, which is your home within Hogwarts, a personalizable space that actually has some utility as well, where you get to brew things and grow things and also care for some beasts. All right, Andrew's got us in the Room of Requirement, wearing, we kind of went casual mode on the outfit here, wearing a nice jumper. And I think that's a good jumping off point for the personalization of the space as well. Not just your character and the visuals of your character, but actually this space is a place that you can make your own.
Yeah, it was super important to us that this space really did feel like your reflection as a wizard. So you can change the architecture in here.
What?
Different themes throughout, starkly different themes, to really just hammer home that this is yours.
Es el housing totalmente.
What?
Y lo cambias todo con
I never
magia.
expected that to be. Oh my God.
That's the thing, is not only can you change the architecture here, but you can actually conjure little objects into this space, as you can see. So There's like statues that you can do, and ornaments, and tables, and rugs, and just
Qué mágico es todo, tío, qué mágico. Me encanta.
And bring it to life.
Oh my goodness.
Todo con la varita.
We had an idea that those places where you brew stuff, that's where you can change, but you can do all of this. Where do you even get this stuff? Like, there's a furniture store?
Yeah, so we call them conjurations. And the conjuration recipes can be purchased at Tomes and Scrolls in Hogsmeade. But also, as you engage in different types of gameplay throughout the world, you'll be rewarded with different objects.
That's so cool. And you change color?
You can change the color, you can change the size of it, and you can place it basically anywhere.
Oh my god, it's so tiny. It's like for Baby Niffler.
And I love how the system too is designed. It's not mechanical; it's immersive, and so you get the magical effect of conjuring it in, and you're actually doing this in the world as your character, but the way you've blended like that gameplay with the immersive design.
Señores, quedan 2 mesecitos, menos de 2 meses. Un mes y pico. Y estaremos jugando.
It is really quite beautiful, and that was the thing, is we wanted that to look really nice because the magic in the wizarding world is everywhere. It's physical, it's kinetic, and it's whimsical. We really wanted to nail that whimsy in this space.
Aprendí esa palabra hace poco, whimsical, caprichoso.
You like conjure things and you can change their look, but you can do that with the utility objects as well. So you can see that we have planting pots and potion stations, and you can change the look of those as well. And these are the areas where, as we had mentioned previously, you'll be growing your plants, you'll be brewing your potions.
Right.
So while you're also doing these like kind of nurturing-based activities, this is also the space where you would bring your gear to be identified and gear to have like rates put on it, which I believe Alan can talk to.
Oh.
Yeah, we keep bringing up appearance and how it looks, and on a, like in the game you can look like anything you want to whenever you want to. But the player will be finding different types of gear, that we call it, as you progress through the game. And essentially, we just know that clothes and different items in the wizarding world can have different magical properties. And as you
espero que haya transfiguración, porque aunque encuentre una armadura mejor, equipo mejor, lo que sea, quiero seguir llevando la túnica. Que al menos visualmente se vea como la túnica, ¿sabes? Ojalá.
Oh, and so there's a huge list.
And not all the time, whenever you get a new piece of gear, you don't necessarily know exactly what it does. And so there's a station inside of the room of requirement that you can conjure. It's one of the first things you conjure, called an identification station, where you can actually bring that gear that you're uncertain about and learn what its abilities are.
Right, yeah, that's so cool.
And then as this space advances even further, and the space will eventually grow its own rooms, and you're going to get new recipes, you know, like Mackenzie's talking about.
Okay.
Things keep expanding, and as it
aunque tengas armaduras nuevas o ropa nueva o lo que sea, aún así encima siempre te puedas poner la túnica. Y que te veas la túnica y en medio, en el pecho, se te vea la ropa nueva que tiene. Eso estaría muy bien también. Pero no parece.
Appearances, we call it, or cosmetics, we've been referring to it in this stream. Those types of things you can use, and you can apply a look to any other look. So if you get a piece of gear, you put it on, you look like that, but you can change it to look like whatever you want.
That's so cool. And like you can just put some ability to this sweater, but then you can just swap that ability.
Yep, and the appearances you can edit whenever you want in the gear screen. The loom is specifically about
Eso fue el follow, ¿no?
Traits and...
Un momento que no lo tenía puesto.
And applying larger up.
Oh no. Bueno, luego agradezco. Luego lo reviso y agradezco. Pues no lo tenía puesto, de hecho no se me ve aquí. Solo se me ve el chat. Y claro, yo estoy viendo el vídeo, no me he fijado.
That just kind of grant you greater statistical.
Pero muchas gracias, quien haya sido.
Give you really specific abilities that blend in nicely with where you're trying to go with your combat fantasy or talents and things like that.
Interesting. I'm just seeing that they're just like pumpkin fur, mooncalf fur. Where does that come from?
Yeah, and so you'll notice that the ingredients that are used to add traits and to upgrade your gear are based around beasts. So this is where we get into the beast care section, which is inside this vivario. Kind of bigger space on the inside idea. And so you can see here we have a couple of beasts out. We have a graphorn and a mooncalf and a niffler and a neasel as well. So quite a variety.
Oh my god, he's just like a big puppy.
Qué locura.
They're cuddling. Oh my god, they're together. Oh, that's so cute.
They're adorable. And so part of beast care is petting them as well, but feeding them too. And so once you do those things, that's when they feel safe enough that they'll give you their magical ingredients. So mooncalf fur, niffler fur, etc.
Me parece una locura máxima esto,
That is like so like intuitive because like you know that makes sense because when you touch the animals you get some fur leftovers. That's so. Oh my god.
Yeah, and we really want to hammer home the fact that this is like a home that you're making for them. So in the overland you can find these beast dens and rescue these beasts. Part of doing so is brushing them and feeding them food as well, and to build that relationship with your beast. In addition to be able to care for beasts, you can actually conjure things in this space as well.
The house, the cottage.
Yeah, right. And so we have like a lot of little ornaments in this area, and a lot of them are purely cosmetic, but they look really cool. Again, it's the personalization of this space.
Oh my goodness, no, this is like, I'm gonna spend 8 hours just designing this whole area to personalize. This is like cool, it's like you have this little play area, like a personalized fish tank, so to say, just for the creatures.
Yo es que no puedo ser objetivo con este juego, tío. Seguramente tenga cosas que diga, esto convence más, esto convence menos, pero es que soy demasiado fan de esta mierda. Todo me parece maravilloso.
So one of them, for example, is the food processor, which allows for the beasts in the space to automatically get feed, so you don't have to do it manually. And so you're really building the progression for yourself here. In addition, there's also a toy box where you can play with your beasts. You'll see here, yeah. So you can, there's a bunch of toys in it, and each beast has their own favorite toy. So as you can imagine, the mooncalf really likes the moon ball. Or the neasel, as like a little cat, really likes to chase the yarn ball as well.
Right.
Y te pones a jugar con una bola.
Oh my god.
Watching them.
Los animales también.
And the big thing we really wanted to
Juegan.
home is that
Qué
the
guapo.
world is a dangerous place. And so by going and rescuing these beasts and bringing them back here and caring for them, you're really helping them out. There's poachers in the overland who hunt these beasts for their material. So instead, you're caring for them. You're giving them a home.
Right. Oh my god, this graphorn is just gigantic. But he looks like.
Molaría montarlo.
For sure.
You could actually name them as well. So like your dog.
So getting back into that personalization, you know, yeah, we didn't want you to just like throw in, oh, here's a graphorn in here. Like this can be named whatever Andrew's about to name them. Bruce.
That's a good name.
You know, we've created this really nice space, and you can get vivariums, correct? It's a different kind of aesthetics and looks to where you're keeping your beasts and caring for them.
Progression is a big part of this space as well. So as you progress through the story,
teniendo en cuenta que esto es 100 años antes de la saga de Harry Potter, molaría ponerle a los animales nombres de los protas, Harry, Ron y Hermione.
And it's really a visual effect to and more space for your people.
Oh, so it's like those.
Hasta los árboles puedes cambiar.
There's like on the left, there's that moon glow from one entrance and then some shrubbery going on in the right.
Es que hasta el efecto de cuando se materializa el elemento es muy Harry Potter. Mira, es que es una locura, tío.
And another thing with the beast care that I think is great,
Me encanta.
tying back to the same kind of thing that you did with like the broom, where the broom is not just a method of travel, it's actually built in and integrated into the world. In the same way, like beast care isn't just this added element. You're not just throwing it on top. There's really this like narrative and integration to.
Yeah, everything connects. So as you progress through the missions, you'll expand the space. As you earn resources, you'll go into Hogsmeade and use them to unlock the gameplay here and unlock new conjurations and different things to play around with in the open world. It's in those different
una estatua de un grifo, tío. Es que es verdad, es que le puedes cambiar hasta el tamaño, tío. Una locura.
Those things are what hold recipes that exist in the loom. So all these things have a way of connecting. Moonstone that you find out in the world is the resource that we use to conjure everything. That's found throughout the world. Forgeables are used for recipes. So really everything's like a cycle and keeps you coming back.
But even with the story that's being told too, I think people know who Poppy is and that she has a particular affinity for beasts.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything we're seeing here, you're going to be venturing out into the world, and this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, even of kind of like your interactions with beasts in that narrative. So you bringing up Poppy, there are more kind of mysteries to discover and things to discover out in the world that have to do with her and that have to do with caring for beasts. And so different characters have their own stuff that just kind of make this all just kind of the beginning of your journey.
Well, we could spend hours in here, but we're gonna have to end the stream now. What do you think about what you've seen today?
I mean, I'm just so blown away by how beautiful it looks. The open world seems so detailed and there's so
Sobre todo cuando estás volando, lo que más llama la atención es eso, cómo se ve de bonito, tío. Ves ahí Hogwarts de lejos mientras estás en tu puto hipogrifo o tu puto Sestral, ¿sabes?
I'm so happy you guys did this overall gameplay.
And that's just
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué el personaje de este hombre parece Ken, el de la Barbie?
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Hogwarts Legacy is available for pre-order now. It released February 10th with 72-hour early access
No me he fijado.
Collector's Deluxe and Digital Deluxe Edition. We're going to wrap things up, but first we've got a little surprise for you. Bye.
Qué ganas, tío, qué ganas, qué ganas. Quiero que sea febrero ya. Por favor. ¿Y esto?